It is season 3, episode 5 of the Hall of Fame show. My God, over 100 episodes and counting. It's really great when you produce your own content. No cancellations.
True.
Yeah. So Evan, I before we get started, I'm going to tell a little story, if I could. I sent you a link.
I'm cuddling up with my drink for this.
All right, well, as you should, and I've got mine ready. Just so you know, I have not been drinking all day.
Oh, what do you got?
No, just
you got
here.
Banks. I got myself here a Leinenkugel.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Toasted Bock, by the way. You like dark beer? This is one of the tastiest ones I've ever had.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So Leinenkugel sponsor us. Continue.
Well, yes. And we need a sponsor. So I sent Evan right before a link to Williams, basically the Williams company, and they pretty much own everything on this island, more or less, as you may have seen from just like the one page I sent you.
Yeah.
All right. Because one of those companies is a fast track service where people arrive on the island of Barbados and they get through customs really quick.
Okay.
So through that, my wife knows his wife because she runs that part.
Okay.
So I was at this gentleman's house yesterday.
Okay.
For dinner, along with a couple other couples. So basically, we have the guy who pretty much runs this whole damn country.
Okay.
More or less, because you can't throw a beer bottle, per se, without hitting something that probably that guy is making money off of. With him there was another gentleman who works with him, but also is leading proponent and working on all sorts of clean energy throughout the Caribbean.
Okay.
And they're all talking about all the dignitaries that they met. Also, too, was the ambassador from the United States. So when it came time to introduce myself, so Kirk, what do you do? Well, tonight I'm talking about meatloaf. Which is how I answered it, because that's what I did last night. I have never felt, I mean, they were all wonderful people, but I've never felt more out of fucking place in my life.
They don't talk about meatloaf. No. Sorry. It's just the number one song of the country right there.
Yeah, so I just thought that was sort of an interesting, I should have asked, hey, do you want to sponsor our show?
Yeah, next time, man.
Yeah, I possibly should have. So all pretty much I could do is just stand there and just tell jokes, because I don't really know what else to say when they're talking about, oh yeah, when I was dealing with Mia Mottley, who's the Prime Minister of Barbados, what am I going to say? Well, I met the and I did say this, man, I really screwed this up. All I met were bartenders. But no, they were all really nice people, so.
Cool.
And the ambassador's wife was already following Jasper the Friendly Corgi on Instagram. So, hey, how do I know?
Exciting.
Yes,
excellent.
Absolutely. Our main event today is going to be obviously the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've announced the finalists. But before we get there, I know I open up usually with Kirk's shitbox. I got Kirk's smorgasbord of shit, if I could.
Wow, I didn't realize that you branched out so much to get a smorgasbord.
Well, fuck, we're doing the whole toilet. And actually, we actually pre-planned some of this, so I know you're good, bad, and ugly. So some of it I'm going to leave from behind. One thing I thought really interesting is we had a long conversation about Spotify last night. Oh, but have we decided, are we sticking with Spotify, or are we joining up with everyone? We're under 60. In my case, just barely, but.
I wasn't aware we were on Spotify.
We're on Spotify.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how to answer that question, so just move on.
You don't know how to answer if we're staying on Spotify?
I don't know. I don't have any control over where we are, so.
Okay, well, I guess we're staying on. I guess I've made the corporate decision. Spotify, we're going to stand with you. And Neil Young, thank you, by the way, for telling us which billionaire we should follow, because now Neil's more on Amazon, and he said, if you sort of join me on Amazon here with all this, you're going to get 4 months free service. And you can buy, and here's, I'm going to do one of my plugs. You can buy my book on Amazon, Chavo Guerrero Wins the Classic, but you can also buy books by Joe Rogan and anti-vaxxers. So at least now I know which billionaire is good. Thanks, Neil. That's my point. That's all I really had. on that one.
Fair enough.
That's sort of my smorgasbord of shit. And again, considering we've never met, what will set me off, and it starts with an H and it ends with hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of how I feel. And I've already said my thing last week, and that really hasn't changed. I do find this fascinating, though, and I don't know that I'm enjoying watching the story unfold, but I'm interested and entertained on some level for whatever that is worth.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, part of it though is I don't know if you can't do anything on this planet without making some billionaire rich.
That's a very good point.
There's literally nothing you can do.
Yeah, a good point.
So, I mean, you have to pick and choose your billionaires, right?
Yeah, I'm just not sure that necessarily. I guess one other thing too. When in the history of mankind has a bunch of 20-somethings and teens, not that we fall into that category anymore, but when have they ever said, well, you know what? These 70-somethings, they're telling us not to listen to somebody. We should listen to them. And here, that's never worked.
And yet they're still banning books too. So
that's also true. That's also true. Actually, we had after, and I'll plug another thing actually. Evan and I were that's already on YouTube and other formats now. We had this phenomenal conversation with a bunch of great guys where we acted as if we were the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you again to all who participated. You're all awesome. I'd like to think we all did a fantastic job. And it was just so much fun to talk to a lot of like-minded people, listen to different opinions. And thank you all. Check that out. It's on all our platforms. It's basically the Not Hall of Fame Mock Football Committee. We elected 5 people. I did not think that was the people we were going to go through. Did you?
I expected 3 of them.
Yeah. Because think about this. Hester got in, but he didn't even get into our semis. It's the power of Jack Silverstein, folks.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, Hester is close to getting it. It all depends on who shows up on that day. Like, I was expecting Seymour, Baselli, and Butler. Hester was a surprise. Patrick Willis was a surprise.
Right.
I don't know. Out of those 5, the one who I think is least likely to get in is Willis, just because Zach Thomas exists and plays the same position. It appears to be ahead of him in the queue for the people voting in the room.
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting going all the way through, and nobody likes Bryant Young and Jared Allen. So
Jared Allen did okay. Bryant Young did. And thanks also for Arnie, who did a fantastic job. Arnie, the football history dude, you did a phenomenal job, Arnie, Mr. Chapman, on making me rethink Bryant Young. I didn't wind up voting for him, but you can actually watch our whole process. We are transparent, and do we get things right? I think so. Do we get things wrong? Sure. But it's fun, and we welcome new people, new ideas.
There are literally no wrong answers to this, other than the football writers not having Kevin Williams at least as a semifinalist. That's the only wrong answer.
Hey, we got him in the final 10.
He was in our final 10. Yeah, he finished tied for 9th. So yeah. So in case anybody's wondering, the TLDR version of our show, the ones we elected were Seymour, Baselli, Butler, Hester, and Willis. The next 5 out were Andre Johnson, Torrey Holt, and DeMarcus Ware, who are all 1 vote short of everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Williams and Rondé Barber. And that left because we had extra people, because we had a different semifinalist or finalist list than they did. The next one out, I guess number 11 would have been Steve Wisniewski, 3-way tie for 12th with Henry Ellard, Zach Thomas, and Reggie Wayne. Steve Tasker therefore gets 15th. 17th for Willie Anderson and Sam Mills, 18th for Jared Allen, and 19th, a distant 19th for Brian Young. So,
yeah, and it was a lot of fun. We're going to be doing that again, and clearly we need somebody from Pittsburgh, because we don't seem to have a lot of love for Hines Ward. My co-host here definitely has no love for Hines Ward.
I don't feel that we really need someone to put more Steelers in the Hall of Fame.
Sure. Absolutely. But it was a lot of fun. And thank you again for everyone who participated. I guess we can go right into, I guess my smorgasbord wasn't as big as I thought, because your good, bad, and ugly sort of taken a lot of that.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, sorry needed. I'm glad they're going to come up.
So the big news of the week, the Soccer Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay. Well, here's part of the smorgasbord of shit. Who's the fucking moron who runs your marketing? And I say this because you made the announcement right around on Sunday when pretty much all the world in the United States were paying attention to the conference finals. Who the fuck is running this? Some intern that's overseas maybe and doesn't even know what the hell and thinks that they got it wrong because I don't know why they're calling football soccer here. Like, who's running this?
I mean, they announced it right after the U.S. lost to Canada. Congratulations, by the way. The U.S. lost to Canada in World Cup qualifying. So I guess that's why they did it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I get that, but you're in the middle of tournaments, right? Of other things right now. You could come up with any day better than that one.
Yeah, like when MLS kickoff is in a few weeks. Hold on.
That would have been
February 26th is Philadelphia and Minnesota. That's the first game of the year.
So you do it that day.
Do it that day.
Like what's 3 more weeks? Does it really matter? And then you just build up a pattern. We're going to see pretty soon the Basketball Hall of Fame do their stuff with All-Star Weekend and then the Final Four. They've got their pattern combining. There's a lot of things I can say about that, but we know what the Pro Football Hall of Fame is going to do. We know when baseball is going to do it. We never know when rock's going to do it. Maybe it's the same intern. So, but fuck, come up, just do something. Come up with something to generate buzz for the fast, or the what's the word I want to use? I guess the fastest growing sport right now in the United States. Is it not?
It's got to be.
Yeah. So whoever came up with that just needs to be fired immediately. Hey, we know somebody who's young and looking for work in a Hall of Fame.
Me? No kidding. Neither of those things. So, but yeah, no. Well, let's just get that out of the way quickly, and then we'll move on to the main event, right? Since we already brought up. So they announced the Hall of Fame for the National Soccer Hall of Fame. They have 6 folks going in, including, and I guess the 7th is happening because Christy Rampone was elected last year and decided to defer her election or her induction because of COVID. So she's going to be going as well. Christy Rampone, who was elected last year.
No, but she decided that, or the Hall decided that?
She deferred it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, yeah. So those elected include, well, I'm going to say the one who I can't say much about is referee Esfandiar Baharmast. So they have, all I know is that it now gives them more referees in the NFL in the Hall of Fame. Wow. So we had 3 folks from the ladies' side. We had Shannon Box, who was a longtime member of the women's national team. Linda Hamilton is also another, not Wonder Woman, a different one. Also a long time
Terminator, dude.
Yes. Also a longtime member of the U.S. national team, as well as coach of Southwestern University at the moment, and already a member of the Georgia Hall of Fame. Oh. And probably the most controversial soccer player in U.S. history, in many ways, male or female, Hope Solo, who is a goalie for at least one. I think she was goalie for both a gold medal in the Olympics and a World Cup win for the U.S. So that's on the women's side. Men's side, we had Marco Echeverry from Bolivian forward, played for years in the early part of the MLS. He was the MLS from 96 to 2003. And probably the headliner for everybody, Clint Dempsey. Still the greatest player in New England Revolution history, who was the all-time I don't remember, is he all-time scorer? No, I don't remember. But Clint Dempsey, of course, is the headline. I'd say that Dempsey and Hope Solo would probably be the ones most people are familiar with out of the group. So
Dempsey, you think would be the headliner?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Hope Solo has to be on that up there as well.
Yeah. Well, that's what I kind of was wondering, like between those two, because in terms of like, as you like to say, key rating.
Yeah, the key rating. I think Dempsey's is higher. I mean, Dempsey played for Tottenham and Fulham. He scored 57 goals for the U.S. Like, I think that he's he's probably I'd say he's probably the bigger headliner than Hope Solo, but it's one of the situations where it's very, very close. There are many situations where if you have men and women getting inducted at the same time, it's super close. I would say this is a super close one between those two.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same, just from my knowledge. So congratulations to all of them. Actually, I just read something that I missed yesterday that I thought was a little interesting. Somebody got in. Jeff Francis, former Colorado Rockies pitcher, was elected to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. So congrats.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
Yeah, it's a cute little place in St. Mary's, Ontario.
Okay.
I've had a chance to, I just popped in there once because I when I was in sales, it was all over the province. So I'm gonna check that out, and it's pretty neat. I can't remember why they picked St. Mary's. I think that probably somebody, maybe Abner Doubleday farted there at one point. I don't know. It's as good a reason as any. Someone can tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. But the St. Mary's community is going to rise up and come against us, clearly.
Yeah, all 12 of them. It's not a very big town. And yeah, so I guess we should just go right into our main events. We've got, I think I asked you before to sort of, not to necessarily prep, I thought we could sort of like have fun with this. We're going to list off the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame finalists, give our gut reaction, and we're just going to put up a friendly betting line. Not that we're going to bet, because we have a bet going already. I forgot the Olympics have kind of started, and I give a shit. Man,
yeah, I actually thought it was interesting. The women's U.S. women's national team gave up 2 goals to Finland.
Oh, did they? Well, last I checked, it was 4-0.
It was 5-2. So just the fact that that someone other than the U.S. or Canada scored multiple goals against the U.S. or Canada is actually a good sign for the sport. So
it's really not.
I'm hopeful. That's all I'm saying. I'm hopeful. So
let's see. Yeah, because one of our bets, I gotta remember this. So we have it's what's the best out of 3, Canada versus US in women's, which in women's hockey. Did we decide we're still doing the Canada US and men's? I forget.
I don't remember.
Because we don't care at this point. If one of our countries beats the other one, neither one of us is going to message the other one and go, ha ha.
Yeah.
Our scrubs beat your scrubs.
They all were hanging out the passenger side of their best friend's ride on the way to the arena. So
well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
See, it's the first Olympics that has 100% artificial snow. So why not 100% non-professional players?
I didn't know that. That's hysterical. All right. Well, let's look at the possible nominees or the possible inductees for the Rock Hall. Mm-hmm. This is sort of why I'm foregoing my elevator up, elevator down, my regular segment, because this is pretty obvious. These are all massive elevator ups because they got nominated.
Mm-hmm.
What more do I really need to say? And in your good, bad, and ugly, those are my 2 obvious elevator downs.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we'll just pass through it.
This is the most the good, bad, ugly has ever been teased. So it's exciting. Go ahead.
All right, so let's start this in alphabetical order. By first name, Beck is nominated for the first time, and I think he's got a pretty good shot. I love his music, so I'm trying to put my own personal bias aside, but he's got everything that the Hall looks for. The critics love him. He's got the success, and he's not really controversial or in any capacity. I think he's got an excellent shot at getting in. What do you think?
I think this is a good group for Beck. Mm-hmm. Just because there isn't any direct competition for him here. And not that, for example, Dave Matthews Band was nominated a couple years ago. Not Dave Matthews Band would have been direct competition, but they're at least sort of semi-rock bands in the same time period. There's nobody else like him.
Right.
The only other sort of mini contemporary of his is a rapper. So I don't think there's any real issue here for him.
Do you think if he gets in that Kanye is going to come up and say, and just try to interrupt the speech?
Sure, why not?
I'm trying to think, when I look back, who looked more of a deer in headlights, Beck or Taylor Swift, when that happened to both of them? I think it's a tie, really.
Probably.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm pretty excited about Beck. I'm really excited about this group, but I think they got no. Oh, what's your odds? I forgot. I wanted you to come up with your betting odds.
Well, let's do it at the end. Let's do
Do it at
who
the
we
end?
think the most likely people get in
All right,
are,
sounds
and
good.
let's do who you'd vote for and who the most likely people get in. By the way, did you make predictions as to who you thought would be nominated?
I did, yeah. I think one
How
of our
many?
regular
How many?
listeners. I got to look it up. Because Richie Leitner always sort of like sends us messages, and a lot of people
Mhm.
are into this as to who we think. I should bring that up because I don't think I got a whole lot right.
Yeah, I nominated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I'd have to look at this.
I did 16 and I got 7.
You know, I'll look after. Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, I probably did not get as high. So Devo is back,
Mhm.
and you and I said last year that the best thing that could ever happen for them is for Kraftwerk to get in, and
Yep.
we both said, man, it makes no sense. How is Devo going to get in when Kraftwerk's not nominated? But the Rock Hall does what the Rock Hall is going to do. Just
Mhm.
because they're not on this list, Shaka Khan, doesn't mean they're not going to get inducted.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. Yes. So this, I think, I don't think they're going to get in, but I think they're a hell of a lot closer than they were.
They are a lot closer. I'm actually a little surprised to see that it was Devo again. And I actually, by the way, I had Devo as one of the 7 that I predicted correctly. I was halfway between Devo and thinking maybe they would go for oh my goodness, my brain, Daft Punk, just to mix it up a little bit. I understand doing Devo again now that Kraftwerk is in. I would suspect at this point we have Devo this year, Daft Punk next year, Devo, just going back and forth until one or both of them gets in. That'd be my guess.
And I think now is a good time to repeat that if Daft Punk does sort of get in, Evan and I can pretend to be Daft Punk. Well, not like any of you know what they look like. We can pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, we actually were accepted as Kraftwerk last year. So.
I'll run with that.
Nobody knows what they look like either.
Mm-hmm. Dionne Warwick, she's back, 2nd year in a row nominated. I'm mildly surprised. I shouldn't be, but I am. What do you think?
She was also one of the ones I predicted coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a tough list for her. I thought it was a tough list for her last year when there was Tina Turner and Carole King. I thought there was very unlikely they're going to put a 3rd female act in because that's the way the voters are.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she is at least 2nd, maybe 3rd with the women on the list this year too.
Yeah,
So.
I agree with you. And that sort of bleeds into the next one. Someone who's never been nominated before, someone who I have failed to actually rank. And I probably got that wrong. Sometimes when I initially put this list together, that's the Not in Hall of Fame rock list. You know, a lot of it, you're trying to think of what is rock and roll credibility. Dionne was ranked on that. I don't know that her rock credibility, whatever that means, because that means something different for me than for you than for virtually everybody. But I think this person's actually the biggest icon of all of them nominated, rock credibility or not. That's Dolly Parton.
America's new grandma. Now that Betty White is dead, Dolly Parton's our grandma.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Dolly Parton's how you should live as a human being. She's well off, but she gives all of her time. She gives stuff away. She raises money for good causes. She's just a generally good person who made ridiculous music. I would like to point out, Dolly Parton wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day.
And was it a spit take? I didn't know that. Seriously?
Yeah, she wrote them. She wrote them on the exact same day, both of those songs all the way through. Yeah. Dolly Parton is ridiculous. We've been talking for a while that they did a few country folks, and then they're like, "Oh, we got Johnny Cash and a couple others. That's enough." Bonnie Raitt and stuff like that.
Right.
Like Dolly Parton. If we're going to include in the Rock Hall pretty much what drove music in this country, like you cannot have Dolly Parton not in. She was not. I was expecting a diva, or not a diva, but like one. They're still bad at electing women, or even nominating women. Like I said, Tina Turner was nominated for the first time last year, right? There are some other giants out there that haven't nominated. I would actually went with. I thought Diana Ross was gonna be the next one they put up here.
Yeah, that's your big one for you.
Yeah, that's my big one now. It used to be Tina Turner. Now it's actually probably Patti LaBelle more than anything, who's not in at all. At least Diana Ross is in once. Patti LaBelle is still not in. Cher is still not in. And never been nominated. But yeah, Dolly Parton is as close to 100% for someone who's been eligible since 1989 and never been in as possible. Yeah, Dionne Warwick and Parton have both been eligible since 1989. So, and Warwick was nominated first time last year. Dolly Parton this year. I think she's in.
Yeah, actually, I've got 2 locks, and she's lock number 2.
Yeah.
Which brings no, it doesn't bring. I could do this alphabetically. Finally nominated Duran Duran.
Best band ever named after a villain from a Flash movie.
From a Flash movie? I thought it was from Barbarella.
Oh, it is Barbarella. Oh my God, I screwed that up. That's right, Dr. Duran Duran. Sorry, it is Barbarella. Damn it. I got to drink more or less. I'm not sure. We'll try more first.
It's not the coolest thing for rock heads of my age to say, but I love Duran Duran. Love them, seen them a few times. I would gladly go see them again. If I had a vote, it'd be hard for me not to vote for them.
I'm a little surprised it was them and not the Smiths.
Well, I mean, you're the one you said this to me for years. They just keep rotating 80s bands of a similar alternative pop vein until one sort of like gets in. It's almost like putting a bullet in a gun and just seeing, okay, well, is it going to click this time? So,
yeah, I mean, so they had the Cure, Depeche Mode, and the Smiths going round and round and round, and the Cure got in back in 2009. Depeche Mode, 2019. Depeche Mode in 2020. And I thought it was going to be the Smiths, who weren't there last year. There wasn't really anybody in this spot last year. I guess maybe I wouldn't even say New York Dolls fit that category. But so I was figuring it'd be the Smiths or New Order would be coming in this spot, and it was Duran Duran, which is interesting.
Yeah, so they could. I think they could surprise.
It's entirely possible, and I will say I do have a framed picture of my wife in this house that has from Things Remembered, has a sentence underneath it which just says, "It smells like it sounds," which is one of the most confusing lines in music. My wife and I, we don't understand why something happened. We'll say they're like, it smells like it sounds. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So
neither would it sounds like it smells.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So anyway,
here's one we'll just gloss through because there's no point. He's getting in. Eminem.
Eminem is getting in. It is a weird Eminem is going to get in before another group that's nominated, and actually another group that's never been nominated, Wu-Tang Clan. I feel a little bit weird. Eminem is definitely getting in first.
As would he probably.
Yeah, I agree. I bet he would. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me when Hall & Oates said, like, you know, like we're happy to be in. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what they said. You know, like, we're happy to be in, but this doesn't feel right that we're ahead of the Spinners.
Well, I mean, since there's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it says that there's probably somewhere a Rock and Roll Oates of Fame, correct?
If there isn't, I think I know 2 people who can put that together.
100%.
Yes. Kate Bush. Shit, I did this alphabetically, and I did this alphabetically wrong. I'm an idiot.
Hey, you've skipped a few here, so.
Okay. All right. Who did I skip? Oh shit! I skipped Carly Simon.
And A Tribe Called Quest.
Well, no, I have them at the bottom on the thing that I wrote.
A starts with A.
Yeah, but A, like, I get okay, whatever. Fuck. All right, Carly Simon. Okay, yeah. Well, then maybe in Canada we do things differently in terms of the alphabet. You ever think of that?
A, as far as I know, Canada, A starts with EH.
That's true.
Yeah. So, Carl, do you want to do Carly Simon?
Yeah, because if you keep hurting my feelings, I'm gonna have to hide like Trudeau does in front of a trucker. But sorry.
Okay.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
You're so vain. You always think this thing's about Trudeau. Carly Simon is another one of the, when I brought up my list of completely overlooked female artists, Carly Simon was always near the top. She'd never been nominated before, which is nuts. She has been eligible since, hold on.
Forever, I think.
Let me just actually get the year though. She's been eligible since 1997 when I graduated high school. So, I mean, put it this way. She's been eligible as long as Billy Joel has been eligible. And Billy Joel's been in since 1999. They're the same year.
Who is
Leonard?
What's bigger, Carly Simon's teeth or Billy Joel's forehead?
I don't know how to answer.
Sorry, I don't even know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, just by the way, other members of the class of 1997 who are in: Bonnie Raitt, Leonard Skinner, Bill Withers, Electric Light Orchestra, the Doobie Brothers, and Kraftwerk. To give you an idea how long she's been eligible while waiting for a nomination.
Yeah, a lot more than that one song.
Yeah, significantly. She gets remembered for that song more than any. But she is.
This is a good group for her.
This is a pretty good group for her. I know we just talked about Kate Bush. I think her existence makes Kate Bush's road very different.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Kate Bush because
I know. Well, you said Kate Bush, and then went back to Carly.
Yeah. Well, let's bring her up now. Kate's was her third nomination, so they clearly want her in, and I totally get that. I think Kate is fantastic, but this is really hard group for her.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way that you can get Kate Bush in this group, and I hate to say it, is to go back to a lot of archaic ways where it's man, woman, man.
Yeah. The way that Laura Nero got in.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Kate Bush, just by the way, I think Kate Bush is more deserving than Laura Nero. And again,
I agree.
For the 400th time, it's unfair to put women up against each other in this thing, but that's just how this Hall of Fame works.
Well,
not that it should, but it does.
I think there's actually, though, once we get there, that there's going to be two groups that are going to go like all male groups that are canceling each other out far greater than anything with Kate Bush.
Fair enough. But I think between Carly Simon, Dolly Parton, and can we bring up the last female act while we're here?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Pat Benatar, like she's not getting through those three. They're not going to elect 4 women.
This is the thing I find, and you and I are both huge on Pat Benatar.
Yes,
and we both would have lost our houses. Of course, I don't have one because I moved from place to place now. Because we both thought when Pat was nominated, bet the bank, bet everything. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that 2020, like when she's getting in, she didn't get in, she'll definitely be nominated in 2021. She wasn't.
But you notice what's different though. Here's what's different. Last time she was nominated with her writing partner and husband. This time she's not. So she's up as a solo. And I had this great conversation with Evelyn McDonald, who is a rock and roll voter. And apologies if I have this wrong, but the way I remember it is that it bothered her a little bit. And I don't know if that reflected in her vote at all. I didn't ask her that. Well, why are they putting him with her? I have no idea if that's something that they're looking at or they're thinking in this weird way. This feels very Shaka Khan. All right, we want this person in eventually at some point. Let's try her alone. No, try with Rufus. Didn't work. Let's try her alone again. If Pat doesn't get in, do they try and put the pair together? Because I honestly thought when they put him, it's Neil Girardo. Girardo? It doesn't matter. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. It matters. But I think when they did that, it was almost like they're trying to like make it easier and say, look, well, if you think that she doesn't do her own material, let's put her with the person. It's like nominating Meatloaf with Jim Steinman. I don't know. That's the only correlation I can think of.
It's Giraldo, by the way.
Giraldo. So thank you. Gerardo did Rico Suave. So I'm fascinated mostly by that. Because I was fascinated by it the last time. So that's something that for me, if I go by my, again, putting in air quotes, rock credibility, Pat she's a person who made a lot of women want to be a rock star more than any other woman in the 80s, the first half.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're me looking at this list, she's if I were voting, she'd be the third person on this list.
Which won't, that's why we made our own halls.
Yeah, right. So,
so my guy, fella's back.
Fella is back. Again, for the record, I once said when he said we were trying to predict one year, he said Fella Cootie, and I was like, "Are you high?" Essentially, and the answer is no. You're just early.
I might have been, well, yeah, because that was like way back in the day when we didn't do these shows. We just sort of like did a whole little email thread back and forth and put it on the World Wide Web.
I found my notes that I sent you on Marvin Harrison the other day for his Pro Football Hall of Fame induction.
Nice. Man, there's a lot of content on this site. I'm proud of that. I'm very proud of what we've done. I really am. Fella to me seems like somebody who, if they want to vote him in, they're not, or if they want to put him in, they're going to.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the most likely person to leave this list and get in the back door.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. Judas Priest goes back to my, I guess our mutual theory. I just sort of like coined it now. I'm just gonna call it the Russian roulette theory. Here's the heavy metal group. All right, we're just gonna try Iron Maiden last year. Let's put Judas Priest back up. Yeah. I think Priest is the better band. Well, okay. Out of the three, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Iron Maiden. Who are you strongest for?
I think, who am I strongest for personally, and who do I think personally is Motorhead? I'm a much bigger Motorhead person than the other one. In terms of what I think historically who should go in first historically is Judas Priest. But given the choice, if I had to take free ticket to go to all three, I would go to Motorhead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree with everything you just said in that order. No disrespect to Iron Maiden. They're awesome. It's just,
I think all three should be it.
Yeah.
We don't elect hard rock bands.
No, and they're not going to either this year.
I don't think so.
They won't. This one I thought was very interesting. Lionel Richie, first time nominee. Commodores have never been nominated. I like Lionel as more as a person than an artist. His music has never spoke to me, for whatever that means.
It's because you weren't a blind girl working with clay.
Or I never danced on the ceiling.
Also true.
Yes.
That's one of that song isn't that song on its own isn't that creepy, but that video is one of the creepiest videos of the 80s. Hello, is it me you're looking for?
Isn't it amazing how that has sort of taken on another life in the last 5-6 years? Which you just never know what is going to become a little bit more viral. Of all the things Lionel Richie has done, if you were to ask that question in 1990, where would that be? Number 10, number 11? And now it's like number 1?
It's just creepy. I mean, you have to do everything for the times, of course.
Yeah.
And nothing is worse than Nicole. So, but
well done.
Thank you. But Lionel Richie is somebody. It's weird. He has a spot I was going to give to Warren Zevon, which is weird because they are not the same person. But they have the songwriter spot usually on this list. They didn't actually have one really I guess last year would have been Todd Rundgren technically,
right?
But they have the John Prine had it one year, and Peter Gabriel was in that spot, and they have that spot over and over again. And it just seemed like it was Warren Zevon's time now that Rundgren was in. I was not expecting them to go to Lionel.
No, me either. Oh, well, here's a question for you. I don't think Lionel's going to get in, but do you think that he would get more votes if it was the Commodores? Because I do.
Yes, I think the Commodores. Yeah, I think the Commodores get significantly more votes than Lionel. No offense to Lionel's career, which is great. I mean, in our project, we've inducted him twice with the Commodores and on his own.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I've actually reached out. We should promote that. It's just this amazing thing that Nick Bombach did. And I apologize, Nick, because I've talked to you, but I haven't talked to the person you're doing that with. So the name of that's escaping me. But it's the Rock and Roll, was it Revisited Project?
Yeah, Rock and Roll Revisited.
Yeah. And what they did, we're probably going to borrow the same template for the sports halls. It's just a bunch of people like us and voting on the rock halls by year, and it's been really fun and just watching what different people think. I know, like you and I both, you more than me, just like carpenters, huh?
Yeah, who's a carpenter? Like so many people for carpenters, I just never got it.
Either.
But yeah, but then every once in a while, like a band Muse got elected this last week. Like I freaking love Muse. I just was not expecting them to get as much support as they did, right? And then there are other bands who I love who've shown up once and then disappeared and not or never come up. And it's just interesting, the whole thing, who people go for and who people don't. So
right. And I think it'll be really interesting when we do that with the whole sports thing, because we're going to be recruiting people from all across Canada and the US, and probably just Canada and the US for the sports things. I don't really think there'll be a whole lot of international beyond that. But there'll certainly be some people, especially when the PED stuff comes and when we do the baseball ones.
Yeah. So
yeah, like that'll be fascinating to me. But so I want to bring these two up together, because these are the ones to me that are going to cancel each other out.
And they had a real low chance of getting in anyway.
Exactly. And that's MC5 and the New York Dolls.
Right.
MC5, this is what their sixth nomination. I think
sixth nomination.
Yeah, 5 in the last 6 years. So the powers that be know that they belong. They know this, they believe it, but the voting body doesn't. So this could be, for proto-punk, they have to get in before the Dolls, right? I mean, this is going to be
no offense to Dolls, but if we're going in the order, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going in the right order, MC5 should be first. So MC5 was nominated first time in 2003. And then wasn't nominated again until 2017, but they got 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and then 2022. So, yeah.
That's their only path, I hate to say, because they're just going to keep throwing this dart. And as the Rock Hall, they're trying to diversify their voter base. That's great and all, and they should. But the more diverse it gets, and God, I hope this doesn't sound awful, but the less likely MC5 is going to be thought of.
Yeah. I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah.
So MC5 at this point, if they don't get in, which I don't think they will be tied for second most nominations without getting in the Rock Hall.
Tied with whom?
Oh, that's a good question for you. Who was
I just assumed you had that. Oh, because like.
I do have it right in front of me. I'm asking who it was. Who do you think it is?
Tied with number one without getting in.
Yeah, number one is Chic with 11.
Okay.
But they're tied with someone else with 6, a solo artist.
You know, Mary Wells was up like 5 times in a row or something like that, and then it just never again or something like that. But it can't be her.
It's not Mary Wells.
Yeah, I don't know. Ooh.
Chuck Willis.
Fuck.
Yeah, Chuck Willis has got 6. You ready for this transition? There's 5 for Joe Tex. Yeah. There is 5 for Jay Giles Band, and then there's 4 for Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, well done. Segue. Are you listening? Yeah, and here it is again. And I'm with you 1,000% now. Why? Tell everyone why you want Rage to get in for your biggest reason.
So, Rage, Tom Morello is on the nominating committee, and I want to point out that I do not believe Tom Morello is nominating Rage. Like when they're up for the first time, he demanded that they not be nominated. And Jane's Addiction was nominated for their only nomination in their place, right? But Rage has now been up. This is their 4th time. They need to get in because Jane's Addiction and Soundgarden and the rest of those bands are Sonic Youth,
Smashing Pumpkins,
Social Distortion. They're all being blocked rightly or wrongly, by Rage at this point. Like Rage has that spot. Get them in so we can discuss somebody else.
And
right?
It's not like Rage they've got also everything you want. They're influential, they're socially conscious. They're fucking good.
Yeah.
And
their lyrics are some of the most misunderstood of all time, right up there with Leonard Skinner and with Fortunate Son. Like killing in the name of is one of the most misunderstood song lyrics. Born in the USA.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I burst out laughing.
Fortunate Son and Killing in the Name of have got to be the three most misunderstood songs.
My wife, my lovely wife, at some point, the four of us, we've just got to go out and do dinner at some point.
Fine with me.
Yeah, because if I'm going to Chicago or you're coming to Winnipeg, we're bringing our significant others.
Deal.
Although I don't know how you're going to say to your wife, "Hey, want to go to Winnipeg?"
Hey, we are going on vacation 2 weeks from tomorrow. We're taking a long weekend around President's Day weekend in Chicago. Where do you think we are going to go to enjoy our days off?
All right. Well, now based on the setup, it's Milwaukee,
Minneapolis.
Okay.
In February. Why not?
All right, fair enough.
So
when we get to Winnipeg, Pauline and I, we figured our first vacation, we're going further north. We're going to find polar bears.
Nice. Going to Yellowknife?
Churchill.
Okay.
Yeah. Be the first time I've ever hit Hudson Bay. Not the actual bay, not the company. Yeah. So yeah, moving on. Actually, there's only one left, which kind of.
Well, two left. We still haven't talked about A Tribe Called Quest.
Who's the other one? I forgot.
Eurythmics. The Eurythmics.
Oh, okay. I missed that completely. All right, let's do that.
I thought you might have had them under the, so I left.
No. I missed it actually in the whole thing. I didn't know. I missed. All right, I'm an idiot. Okay. I love Annie. I mean, I've said that before. I'll say that again. I think also the Eurythmics are not just Annie Lennox. Dave Stewart is also another genius who does not get his due.
And Annie Lennox will tell you that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So this is Duran Duran being part of this hurts the Eurythmics in a way, I think.
Yeah, I think that and Pat Benatar hurts the Eurythmics. I just don't know how many 80s ladies they're going to put in, female-led groups.
Yeah.
So how many, let's just say they get 6. So last year we had Foo Fighters, Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Carole King, Todd Rundgren and Tina Turner, plus LL Cool J and Kraftwerk and Gil Scott-Heron got in on different ways, right? We had 6. And if we have 6 this year, are they really going to put 3 or 4 female groups in? And
no,
the answer is no. It's going to be 2 or 3, which is why even though Eurythmics and Pat Benatar do not sound the same, they are from the same era, do not sound anything the same. They both are female fronted groups.
Yeah.
So I think that hurts Eurythmics more than I think the number of quality women on this list and the presence of Duran Duran hurts Eurythmics.
But Pat Benatar has a different front. We are young. Sorry, that only worked if you're watching.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Heartache to heartache, we stand. Sorry.
We don't have a sponsor. We can't afford to get sued. So you got to stop there. And lastly, A Tribe Called Quest.
Interesting. Love them, but
they're not getting in over an Eminem.
No.
They're not going to put 2 rap groups in. They're not getting in over Eminem. And I mean, A Tribe Called Quest and Wu-Tang Clan were 2 of the biggest oversights. I'm glad to see they're here, so at least I know they're in the cycle.
Well, to me, Wu-Tang's a bigger oversight, but
100%.
Yeah,
I actually agree with you on that. But
okay.
Tribe Called Quest is like, if Wu-Tang's 100, Tribe Called Quest is a 97. Like we're not talking, we're not talking a huge difference. I would put Wu-Tang in first, but I'm glad to see they're here. Problem is Eminem is also here, and that's going to be maybe the extent of it. So, just by the way, my predictions for this were Eminem, So I got Eminem, Rage Against the Machine, Dionne Warwick, Devo, Judas Priest, Pat Benatar, and the Eurythmics, or
Okay.
who I predicted out of my 16.
All right, I'm bringing up what I had.
So just by the way, the ones I did not get that I predicted were Chaka Khan, Dave Matthews Band, the Spinners, the Smiths, Diana Ross, Wu-Tang Clan, Warren Zevon, Patti LaBelle, and Kool and the Gang, who I sure, with all the talk about it, was getting a nomination this year.
Okay, so I'm just bringing up what I sent to Richie here. So let's see what I got. Beck, so there's one. Pat Benatar, so 2. I had Mariah Carey, so I got that wrong. Tracy Chapman was my dark horse.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Good choice.
might have been Melsa too, probably because I think I was listening to one of the albums too. Just thought she's awesome. God.
Yeah, we actually had Give Me One Reason to Stay Here was playing last night. We're going over to my in-laws, and we're trying to explain how amazing Tracy Chapman was to the kids.
Well, shit, I might actually have you beat her. So Beck Benatar. So I was wrong on Carrie Chapman. I had Duran Duran.
Huh?
Eminem, so that's 4. Then I went Jethro Tull. So I got that wrong. Judas Priest, so I'm 5. The Doll, 6. Paul Revere and the Raiders. Obviously, I'm wrong there.
I saw them this year.
Yeah, you sent me that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. They were good still.
Rage Against the Machine.
7.
We're tied because then I went Shaka Khan, the Smiths, Wu-Tang. All right.
Yeah, well, we were tied anyway because we both had all of those. So
yeah,
it's not bad though. You had 7 out of how many though?
Like, I didn't. I went less
because I had 7 out of 16.
I'm gonna bring it up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Shit, I only went 14. I'm a fucking moron.
Well, yeah, I had 2 more chances. So
yeah, well.
Although to be fair, I got 7 out of my first 9 and none of my last 7. So
I don't know if that really makes me feel better or worse on this. But Richie, thanks for always listening to us, and yeah, we appreciate that.
So who would you vote for, and who do you have in out of this group?
All right, let's bring this back up. Okay, I'm voting for Beck, Dolly, Rage. Not again, that's strategic voting, not necessarily because I think they're the 5 here. MC5 and Fella. That's my 5. And I know that I don't have Eminem there, but going back, it's strategic voting. I know enough people are going to. So I'm going in the mindset as if I was a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame voter. Who I think will get in is going to be Eminem, Dolly. I honestly think Rage is going to squeak through in this way. Beck will get in, and the 5th will be. Did I say Pat?
Yeah, you have not.
And that's my 5th.
Who's your 6th? I think 6 will get in. So who would be
6?
the 6th?
All right. Bring that up here.
Carly. So my 6 who I would vote for I would vote A Tribe Called Quest ahead of Eminem. I know Eminem's getting in, but just for this, though, you're respecting the order here.
All right, but would you do it for the same reason that I just said? Just because you're trying to be more strategic? Because I left off Eminem just thinking everyone's going to vote for them anyway, for him.
Yeah, to a certain extent, yes. But
Okay.
I also feel better about it. I would vote Carly Simon, Dolly Parton, Pat Benatar, and then Rage and Judas Priest to get these guys going. Now, who I think is going to get in are Eminem and Dolly Parton and Pat Benatar. And then after that, it gets more complicated. I expect it's going to be Beck. I'm going to say Rage gets in, and heck, Carly Simon probably. I do think we're going to get. There's too many quality female artists here, and some of the male artists are a little bit they're not as prominent. Put it that way. I would not be shocked to see 3 women in. I would be surprised to see 4, unless we're getting into 7.
I guess before we go into the next thing, you brought up Laura Nyro. I think my most visceral reaction of like, how the fuck was her when she got in? And I know I feel bad saying this because we're talking about, we just did a whole great conversation about how, and we say this all the time, you and I, the female representation you're a little stronger on it than I am, is lacking. But Laura to me just skipped through a queue.
Yeah, Darlene Love is the one for me.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't really remember when that happened. I just remember all that. I'm just from my memory bank. If I look back and if I were to do this all over again, to me, it's always going to be Percy Sledge, Percy Sledge, Percy Sledge.
Right.
He is, to me, the weakest one in there, but whatever. It's not like I really have that big a problem with it either, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It's just like Darlene Love.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. It just cut out. What were you
Oh,
saying?
it says my internet connection. Sorry, it said my internet connection was unstable. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I said the year Darlene Love got in, Donna Summer was on that same ballot and did not get elected.
Mm. We just
Like,
hey, this is a good time for me to do a plug. Can I? Rather than plug it all at the end?
go ahead.
Yeah, we just
100%,
recorded.
yeah,
Yeah, we just recorded. It's not up yet on the website. How the hell did this go number one? Evan's been a special guest on that show. And something that's been recorded and will go up on the site. We looked at Donna Summer, MacArthur Park.
Cake in the rain.
Cake in the rain. Yeah, it's exactly what Brad kept going through. It's like, which is fascinating. That was her first number one. Love to Love You Baby did not go number one. I Feel Love, the sexiest song ever.
Yeah.
Well, to me. But
a lot of your friends were conceived of that song, let's be honest.
Well, my friends? Maybe.
No, that was after. That was before me and after you, I think, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
by the way,
friends of multiple ages.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just by the way, Laura Nero was also got in over Donna Summer when she was elected the next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why we did that segue. It's segue. So yeah, I mean, like, overall, I know when you and I first started looking at this together in whatever capacity it was, as much as I can shit on the Rock Hall, and I do, because again, she's like, hey, look what's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that. But what I will say is they're a lot better than they were 10 years ago in terms of
I'll tell you, that's 100%.
a musically diverse group, and not just of people, but of genre. They've gotten so much better. They're trying to throw a bunch of stuff out there for people to really look there. They're trying to do the whole Bob Ross palette. And they weren't when we started looking at this, you and I, about 10, 11 years ago. So congratulations to all those nominated. You were all elevator up. And whichever five of you, I might be surprised, but I'm not going to be pissed off on any of these.
I think 6 get in, just by the way. So I'd say all 6 get.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
and Chaka Khan.
Yeah. There's my third lock.
Yeah. Chaka Khan, and I bet Fela Kuti gets in as well. Despite
Shaka's getting in because that's the only way it's going to happen. They want
her in. Getting in with the Musical Excellence Award that LL Cool J won last year.
Yeah, or whatever award they come up with.
Right. Yeah. Oh, they'll come up with something.
Absolutely. So I don't know. Maybe that sort of like says something about the people who are voting. I don't know. Maybe it's not this weird smorgasbord. Second time I used the word smorgasbord that they want it to be.
I feel like I'm in Pee Wee's Playhouse and there's a chair screaming somewhere.
No, I've never seen an episode of that.
Oh, it's an acid trip in retrospect. So
anyway, to those we lost.
Yeah, those we lost this week. The Beige Mistress was back at it again.
Oh shit! What'd you do?
Laszlo Palisic, who was the Hungarian biathlete who competed in the 1984 Winter Olympics, passed away of heart disease at the age of 62. So there's been an uptick in Hungarian athletes dying again. She may be out of hibernation. We had like a 3-month period at the end of last year.
It's a reboot.
2022 is 2020 part 2. Electric
Boogaloo.
Oh geez. Yeah. All All right. From the world of, let's see here. Let's start with the world of baseball. Why can't I find what I was looking for earlier? No, I'll get there. In fact, there we go. From world of baseball, a member of the 1982 World Series winning Cardinals, David Green, passed away at the age of 61. Played for the Cardinals, Giants, 1 year for the Connecticut Buffaloes, and then finished his career at the Cardinals. He died from COVID. He had respiratory failure and passed away. So yeah, he was 61. Also passed away from baseball. One of the top appearance leaders in New York Mets history, Jeff Innes. Pitching them from 1987 to 1983. Here's how bad the Mets have always been at offense. He has a career 3.05 ERA and was 10-20 in his career. Like, it didn't just start with Jacob deGrom. Yeah, so he passed away. He passed away from cancer at the age of 59.
That sucks.
So,
well, it sucks for everyone I'm talking about. Isn't it funny, or not funny? Of all the people we've talked about in the last 40 days, the person we're saddest the most is Betty White dying at 99. Like, oh, you took her too soon.
And crazy. If you can live 99 years and people still not think it's enough, that's amazing. So also passing away, Richard L. Duchossois, passed away at the age of 100. He actually owned Arlington Park, where they're going to be tearing down to build the Bears Stadium, and Churchill Downs, as among others. He's a member of the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame, the United States Racing Hall of Fame, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But he was 100 years old when he passed away earlier this week.
Good luck.
So it's pretty good.
No.
Also passing away from hockey and Hockey Night in Canada, actually, Ralph Bellamy passed away.
Oh, shit.
Ralph Mellanby, excuse me. Mellanby.
Yeah.
Scott Mellanby, his son, played in the NHL for a long time. But he won multiple Emmys for his work Hockey Night in Canada. He won an Emmy for his work on the greatest for the 1980 Olympics as well, with the U.S. game. But A Miracle on Ice, just one of the great folks from Canada. I mean, in terms of broadcasting.
Yeah.
He was 87 years old.
Oh, I miss that. I think that's one thing I'll certainly change. Going back to Canada, I'll be a lot more in tune with Canadian news. But when you're living in Barbados, it's like, hey, what's going on in Toronto? I don't care.
All right, we have a whole bunch of people from music who passed away this week. First of all, we have Philip Paul, passed away at the age of 96. In 2009, he was honored at the Rocket Hall as a member of songwriters, the soundmen, the people behind the hits. He played drums with Freddie King, Grandpa Jones, Hank Ballard, Wynonie Harris, Little Willie John, like all sorts of people. He actually is also the person who came up with, I missed it. I had it here and I lost it.
While you're looking for that useless fact, Grandpa Jones was never a grandpa. Why do I know that? But I do.
The Thompson twins had 3 of them, and none of them were named Thompson, and none of them were even brothers. By Peter Frampton, a whole bunch of other people. There was something else he did, and I cannot find it right now. But yeah, one of the big sidemen who's played on so many things that you just don't know about, passed away at the age of 96.
We love sidemen. We love talking about
We do love sidemen.
Yeah.
Another sideman who was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015, Sam Lay, a drummer and vocalist who played with Little Walter, Howlin' Wolf, Paul Butterfield, and many others. He was a member of Paul Butterfield's blues band, was elected with them, passed away at the age of 86. From folk music, If there is a first family of British folk music, it is the Wattersons, and the person in charge is Norma Watterson, the mom of the family. She passed away at the age of 82. It's one of those things that if you know any of the British classic folk songs you've ever heard, they probably recorded.
Okay.
So it's just one of the major forces in music in Britain for decades. She passed from pneumonia. Also passing away, former drummer for America, Willie Laycox passed away. He was not officially a member of the band, although he played drums with them from 1973 to 2014 without officially being a member of the band.
They couldn't make him an official member of the band?
Yeah, who knows? He was just part of the touring group.
That's probably because he named the horse.
America, band made up of entirely British people. So with American parents. But yeah, he played on pretty much any album you can think of from 74 on. Willie Laycox is part of.
Wasn't like from like the 70s and early 80s. It's like, I don't know what to name our band. Let's just come up with a place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and until Chicago got in, naming your band after a placement, you couldn't get in the Rock Hall. Alabama, Chicago, Kansas, America, Asia.
I'll have to introduce you to the Canadian band Toronto.
I'd rather go see Of Montreal.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Boston also can't get in. So anyway, he passed away at the age of 74. We had music executive John Zazula, who is the founder of the record label Megaforce Records, passed away at the age of 59. Passed away from COPD.
What's that?
So, that's it's a breathing disorder. It's a
okay. No, I've never heard of that. Okay.
Yeah, it's one that people who have it tend to need oxygen for sleeping and other things. So.
Oh shit. That sounds awesome. Okay.
It's not a way to go, from my understanding. We also lost Jimmy Johnson, the blues guitarist, passed away at the age of 93. Inducted in the Blues Hall of Fame in 2016. Mayor Lori Lightfoot declared in June 7th, 2019, declared at the day Jimmy Johnson Day at Blues Fest here in Chicago. Honored as the best blues guitar player in 2020 by Living Blues. He passed away at the age of 93.
Since you brought up Lori Lightfoot, if Jamel Hill keeps morphing the way she is, she kind of is starting to look like Lori Lightfoot.
I'm staying as far away from that question as possible. And
put them together. I'm telling you, there's something going.
And lastly, for music.
Well done. That your lack of segue and just avoidance is awesome.
Sometimes you just got to do it, man. Yep. One of the great sidemen. I know we love sidemen. There are hardly any sidemen better than Pig Robbins. Pig Robbins passed away at the age of 84. He played on the records of, hold on, you ready?
Ready.
Dolly Parton, Patti Page, Loretta Lynn, Kenny Rogers, George Jones, Charlie Rich, Bob Dylan, Neil Young, J.J. Cale, Mark Knopfler, Ween, Alan Jackson, Merle Haggard, Roger Miller, David Allan Coe, George Hamilton, Conway Twitty, and a whole bunch others. By the way, he
I love how Ween is in that group.
I know. I left a few out. He went blind at the age of 4. You know how he lost his sight?
By looking at Lori Lightfoot?
His dad had an accident with a knife and cost him his sight altogether.
Wait. What kind of accident do you have with a knife?
I don't have an answer for you.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So remember 2012 is inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. And did you ever see the movie Nashville?
Long time ago, but I can't remember much of it.
it wasn't the greatest film, but there was a line in there that I actually remembered at the time, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand what it meant. But as the line was, they got a piano player named Frog to back everyone up, and the guy in charge, the country singer played by Henry Gibson, yells at the studio engineer, "I don't want a frog. When I ask for pig, I want pig," because he wanted Pig Robbins. So the fact that that was supposed to be known by everybody back in 1975 just goes to show you again. But yeah, just one of the single greatest session musicians ever, played keyboard for everybody, literally everybody. So,
well, we might have to watch that movie again for a potential future project that we've talked about.
So anyway, just from the world of entertainment, we lost a couple. American martial artist and actor Robert Wall passed away. Robert Wall,
that name. What did he do?
Enter the Dragon, Way of the Dragon, Game of Death with Bruce Lee. But more than anything, he's probably most famous for his conflict with Steven Seagal. So Steven Seagal said that he was that Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and other martial artists sucked, were awful, and that he would fight to the death anyone who believed they could defeat him. Seagal said this.
All right. Okay.
So Robert Wall said, "Sure, bring it on," and got a whole bunch of other people to go with him, 12 of them, to call themselves the Dirty Dozen, to take it up with Seagal. And then asked what happened, he said, "All I need to know is that by not accepting our challenge, Seagal tells us where he actually thinks he's at when it comes to martial arts."
Wow. Okay, what did he play?
Well,
in Enter the Dragon, that's like one of my favorites. I'm
Enter
trying
the Dragon. He's O'Hara in Enter the Dragon.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a Seagal story.
Oh, please.
Well, not personally, but so Chavo used to work in California for Gene LaBelle, who's still alive. Judo Gene LaBelle, and Gene was this martial arts guy extraordinaire, everything, a precursor to MMA, essentially. Helped train Ronda Rousey.
Okay.
Putting it in modern terms. There's a story going around, and I asked Chavo about this, and he says, "Well, I don't know if it's true because I never talked to Gene about it, but I believe it." But so the story was like on some kind of set. Probably would have been when Seagal was at his peak. It's like it's 1990 or whatever the fuck. Apparently he got into it with LaBelle, and LaBelle choked him out.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And LaBelle, who was just this classy individual, just never acknowledged it. So when I asked Chavo about it probably happened, brother, but we never acknowledge it. Yeah, that's Gene. So, any story that sort of shits on Seagal, I seem to like. It's like
understood. I mean,
what a piece of human feces.
He's on dangerous ground.
Well done.
Although with the way we're hitting, causing problems for him, he probably feels a little under siege. But it's just an executive decision on our part.
I can't work above the law into this, so I don't even remember anything else he ever did. Let's move on.
So then, the two big names. Howard Hessman passed away this week. Dr. Johnny Fever himself.
Yes. Shit.
At the age of 81.
That made me feel old learning that he was 81, actually. Again, blatant self-promotion for Evan and I. We run the fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we're going to be announcing the vote for the first, not the first class, but the first contributor class for the roster. And I said to you, if Dr. Johnny Fever doesn't get in, something's wrong. I don't know. I haven't checked the votes right now, so I don't know if he's going to, but that was one of my favorite characters of all time period.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how disappointed I was watching Head of the Class, and that show sucked.
Mm.
I kept
Fair
watching it like you're Dr. Johnny. Come on, entertain me. Never did. But anyway, yeah, very good comedic actor. Great in almost everything he did.
I have to tell you, one of my favorite one of his roles,
Mhm.
which is not really that funny a role, but he was just awesome and needed to pass the right note for the film, was in About Schmidt. I
Shit.
loved him in About Schmidt.
I'm trying to remember, what was he in that? I haven't seen
He was
it.
Larry. He was like Schmidt's best friend. Like it was. I just really enjoyed
forgot
him.
that completely.
I also enjoyed him in Clue as the chief.
You love Clue.
I do love Clue.
Yeah.
I told you, Miss Peacock, the kingdom of God is at hand. So yeah. Yeah. So your souls are in danger. Our lives are in danger. Beat it, you beatnik. So anyway, yeah, he was 81. He died of complications from surgery from colon cancer.
Mm.
So, and the biggest name of the week just passed. Well, he got announced a few hours before we did this. Bill Fitch passed away. Basketball Hall of Famer, probably most famous for being the coach of the 81 Celtics, that won Larry Bird's first title. Yeah, it was. I mean, he was 89 years old, so it wasn't that surprising, I suppose, anyone who gets to that age. But yeah, just one of the real giants of coaching.
Yeah, it was also too part of the Cleveland's first real big push or anything. The Miracle at Richfield, Basketball Hall of Famer from 2019, has a losing record, but probably because you're coaching an expansion team, Cleveland, for the first 10 years.
And then as someone pointed out, one of his greatest accomplishments, probably his last year, was getting the 96-97 Clippers into the playoffs. Like, he coached the Cavaliers in the 70s and the Clippers in the 90s. Of course he had a losing record.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So we lost another great one. And when you sent me that, because you told me about that, no, my response, like 2022 feels a lot like 2021.
Yeah. One of my favorite Bill Fitch stories, though, in 71, he was coach of the Cavaliers, and he didn't like a call. So pre-Bob Knight, he threw a chair at the referee.
Really?
And did not hit the referee. And after the game, they later would ask him what the reaction of the owner was. He said, the owner fined me $100 for not hitting the ref.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So another great segment to those we lost. And I love how we've got our groove. You're always the hammer. Like you dominate the second half.
Usually have your elevator up, elevator down, but that was easily covered tonight.
So. Well, yeah, and some of my elevator downs are gonna tie in with what you're discussing. I don't know what your good is. So, but the hammer, as always, is Evans, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the week of sports. Wah, wah, wah. I don't know your good though. What's your good?
Yeah, I did send you my good.
Okay, but that was early. That was early in the week. I blanked. What is?
Yeah, it was Christian Eriksen. And almost died on the field during the Euros earlier last year.
Oh, a previous ugly. Is this the first time you've had somebody go from an ugly to a good? Because not because of Eriksen, but because of
the situation.
Yeah.
I would say, because my ugly was just the fact that they didn't stop the game and get everybody off the field and everything. But yeah, he signed a contract with Brentford. Apparently, he's healthy enough to go out there and play. It's great. I hope that this works out. He signed until the end of this year, which is May, with Brentford, a way for him to get back in. When healthy, one of the best midfielders in the world, just bar none. If you had an international draft of all the players everywhere, and you could choose who you want on your team. Oh, geez. I have everything on mute. What are you doing, computer? Sorry. I don't know if you heard that.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Still good to know that's not going through. But if you could have a draft, he's probably he may not be in your starting 11, but he's not off your second 11, right? So just the fact he's healthy enough to be able to come back, I hope this isn't a Reggie Lewis situation. But I'm just excited to see that he's healthy enough to at least try to regain his life. So that's what I'm gonna say for the good.
Oh, the bad. I know what it is.
The bad is going to be what's going on with Brian Flores.
Okay, before we go there, I want to play Explain Like I'm 5.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the what do you call it? Not the deposition. I'm not a legal guy. The lawsuit.
Oh, the complaint.
They call it a complaint, not a lawsuit? Okay, just a complaint.
Well, the complaint is what leads the lawsuit. This is what you're complaining about that you want.
Right. So I think everyone knows what we're talking about here. So when I learned that, it's like, well, I had two visceral reactions that I didn't see really repeated anywhere. The first thing what it said is it's a class action, but he's the only one.
At the moment, he is the only one. And so in order to have
that, because like I don't know, I don't understand law. You're the law guy.
So in order to have a class action lawsuit, there is no actual number of people you need in like legally. However, in practice, it's usually like 20 to 25.
And right now,
it's usually the minimum you need.
One, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, as far as you know, there's one. He's in any class action, there's like a title person, right? Or there are a few people up top and there may be other people underneath who are not named.
Right.
I don't know if there's anyone else we don't know about. It's possible there are. But
because that's what's throwing me off. I mean, like when I'm going through all of this, and I think you and I we talked about briefly when Brian Flores was sacked. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You had that. I had that. After learning about the deal where he's apparently said like, no, I'm not going to sack or I'm not going to tank on purpose. It's like, oh, that's why.
So I think I've told you, I got 30 rules of life. One of the most important ones, I know it comes in a weird number, but one of the most important ones is rule 11. There are two reasons for everything, a good reason and the real reason. So the good reason was that allegedly when he got released that he didn't want Tua Tagovailoa to be their thing because he didn't think he gave him the best chance to win. And he was, yelling at him on the sidelines, destroying his confidence and yada, yada, yada. That was what they came up with, right? I have to say, if he is telling the truth about the 100,000 and can prove it, that's
a lawsuit, no?
But that fact has nothing to do with the lawsuit.
Though. No, but that's what's throwing me off, which is what I wanted to talk to you about, right? Because I'm looking at this. If that is true, this is about the easiest wrongful termination that I've ever seen, from what I can understand.
But in that case, his wrongful termination has nothing to do with being African American.
Exactly, which is sort of like why I'm thinking, okay, because the GM of Miami is black. So, and again, I don't fucking know, because the way I looked at this and is everything that's alleged in this lawsuit, I'm with. I am with a whole whack of other coaches, people who got denied jumping on this as a class action. I don't know specifically that Brian Flores was fucked over because he was black. If that makes sense.
It does. Let me take things one step at a time. So Hugh Jackson also said today that he was offered $50,000 to lose by the Browns.
Right. I read that too.
So if those two things outside of the lawsuit, just take that out, take those things outside the lawsuit. If they are true,
right.
Pete Rose was in the wrong sport.
You're right. You're 1,000% right. Yeah.
Because Stephen Ross owns part of a casino. He's part owner of a casino.
Okay.
So if he's manipulating games while owning a casino, that is fraud.
That to me is the bigger story, because you and I think everybody really, you can't look at a sport, you can't look at any industry, I don't care what it is, and say, how come the top doesn't match the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I mean, and I've used this example before. I'll use it again for anyone new. My wife's in the hotel industry. She's Asian and female. What do you usually see in a hotel? Usually a lot of people of color and a lot of women. Why are there not more of that in the top?
Right.
The same rule should apply in the National Football League, National Basketball Association, and really almost any industry, in my opinion. Especially if we've been doing this with the Rooney Rule all this time.
So let me stop right there with the Rooney Rule. The interesting thing about the Rooney Rule,
yeah,
seems to be it's not working with coaches, but it seems to be working with GMs.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Because the first 2 GM positions that got filled were filled by African American candidates.
Yeah.
And that we've had no African American coaches. And there was announced today that Byron Leftwich pulled out of consideration for the Jaguars.
If I can say this right now, selfishly, New Orleans, the guy. And here's my bias, and here's my not racial bias. I don't have a racial bias. I have a divisional bias. He knows Tampa. Take him.
Fair enough.
No,
Fair enough.
That is actually my prejudice on this, because he's black, but because he was a fucking Buccaneer.
I understand.
Makes sense, no?
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. But it's just weird that doesn't seem to have an issue. But when it comes to coaches, there are a lot of these, like part of Brian Flores' problem with his lawsuit, particularly against the Giants. So his information against the Giants is that Bill Belichick, who had Brian Daboll and Brian Flores probably right next to each other in his phone anyway. But he heard something that someone named Brian was getting the job in New York and misread the text. If you look at his text, he misread the text.
I did, yeah. Because
congratulated Flores because he thought it was Flores. He goes, I haven't even been in for an interview, like whatever yet. He goes, oh my God, I'm sorry, I fucked this up. I read the text wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So first of all, Belichick once worked for the Giants. He does not work for the Giants anymore. So his opinion as to something he heard from somebody else is hearsay and not admissible in court.
Okay.
So just to start, he has no direct knowledge. It's him saying to someone what he heard from someone else. It's just not admissible, right? That's first thing. Second thing, if he's trying to claim racial bias, now Brian Daboll was one of the top candidates for everybody this year, right? But they interviewed Leslie Frazier twice first. Leslie Frazier is the first person who got 2 interviews. The Giants came out today and said when that text message went through, they'd only interviewed Daboll via Zoom and hadn't met him in person yet. And there was no way they're going to hire someone on a 20-minute Zoom call. They wanted him in there, and then they had Flores in afterwards. So I think at least when it comes to that, it's a tough argument for him to make. His proof is Belichick, who, by the way, he's not mad at Belichick.
Nor should he.
He's not mad at Belichick, but he's not mad at Daboll, who he used to work with in New England.
Yeah.
But I don't think that what he has and that helps.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, right? Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, I fully believe, and you and I have talked about this many times, that there has been an egregious lack of African-American coaches in the National Football League.
Correct.
Right. But Brian's good. If nobody joins him, he's fucked. If this goes through. So the other thing I wanted to sort of bring up, and going back to the Rooney Rule, I'm sure there's been piles upon piles of African-American men who have been interviewed for jobs they knew they weren't going to get in the NFL. Sadly, this practice, black, white, whatever, exists in almost every industry. I'm using myself. I've looked back in some of my careers, which God, I hope I never have to go back to. I've had a job I didn't really have to interview for. I knew I was going to get it. I've had 3 I had no shot at. I was a fucking token in terms of other things, just because they already had their mind made up. And in 2 cases, I was told straight out, we can't give it to you because you're male. Sucks. What the fuck are you gonna do? I don't know. Having said that, I think while I'm not confident that Brian's specific thing has any merit, if it's just him on his own, I think the NFL have fucked up so badly over and over and over again that if a bunch of others join, like they brought this on themselves. And again, with your legal knowledge, that's
again, and I want to point out, just so I don't get my ass in trouble, I am no longer a practicing lawyer. So this is just my general knowledge. I'm not giving legal advice. Just saying that disclaimer as a lawyer to make sure that nobody's.
You know what I'm trying to say.
This is my opinion.
And I didn't mean to put you in that position.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. But because I know nothing about American law, why would I? Law and Order that's not real life, is it? No, I don't know. Okay.
Dum.
Well done. So like that's all I have to go with. And I read that whole 58-page thing. There's a history there, and this could be something bigger. I don't know what Brian's end game is. I do worry about his future in terms of
Bill Belichick's gonna hire him back.
Yeah, but I wish he never got. To me, the biggest issue, and I wish it didn't necessarily have to come on a race on this thing. I think the bigger issue is we've got owners trying to incentivize losses for draft picks. And one of my things that I was so happy about a few weeks ago was Detroit and Jacksonville winning when it was the worst thing for them to do, and they did anyway.
Well, I mean,
that's what I want. Like, because
Dan Campbell tried to win every single game for the Lions this year.
Yeah,
that Lions team was terrible, but never quit. They're a pain in the ass to everybody they played all year.
And the other thing too, it's like when this owner says, "Well, I'll pay you to lose." Yeah, you're really doing a whole lot for my future value, aren't you?
Right, of course.
Yeah. So, to me, if all of this shit's proven, and I'm blanking on who the Miami owner is,
Stephen Ross.
Okay, it's Ross. Thank you. Go fuck yourself. Like, you're the last person. It's disgusting that you've got this practice, and I hope you're penalized to the point where maybe you lose the franchise. I don't want you as an NFL owner.
Stephen Ross, if this is true, is still a better owner than oh my God, what's his name in Washington?
Dan Snyder. I'm not defending. I'm not saying I want Dan Snyder to stick around. But, Commanders. Well, there's my shit smorgasbord. What a great name that is.
Yeah, I mean, they're the commies, right?
The Commanders.
Yeah. So the person who should be bringing this suit, and no offense to Flores wants to sign on, great. The 2 people that should be bringing this suit are Eric Bieniemy and Sherm Lewis.
How about Lovie Smith?
Let me just talk about Sherm Lewis for a second. You remember Sherm Lewis?
Yes.
He was the offensive coordinator for the Brett Favre Packers, right? They finished, I believe, like between 96 and 99, they finished first, second, and first in offense. And he couldn't get anyone to interview him. I mean, I understand they had Brett Favre, but come on, at some point, the guy who's calling the plays, like everybody associated with the offense of Kansas City has gotten a job except for Bieniemy. Like Nagy, Nagy, I guess how you pronounce it, who's just here in Chicago, called plays for less than half a season and got a 3-year gig here in Chicago. Eric Bieniemy apparently is a apparently a bad interviewer, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he needs to at least have somebody looking at him. I don't know. Brian Flores has a point. There's no question he doesn't have a point.
I think
I
the
just
bigger
don't.
point. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just don't know if the evidence he has right now makes his case.
I don't either. Although I thought it was sort of interesting going back a lot of cases, people know who they want to hire already.
Mhm.
I won't say who it is, just in a whole personal sphere of mine. A friend of mine asked me if they should apply for something that might have been something like they weren't. I knew they weren't going to get that even if they applied. And I said, like, based on what you're applying for, I can tell you in this industry, they already know who they want at this stage.
Mhm.
And that's a whole management thing. I mean, there's certain realities in life. Putting a racial component, I wish we weren't still here, but we're still fucking here. And the NFL did a lot of this to themselves.
100%.
I agree with you. I don't think Brian Flores is the guy to bring this up, but this could have been brought up 20 years ago, 25 years ago by
100%.
anyone else, by other people. I'm fascinated. I'll call this a Spotify thing. Who's going to join him? I don't know. Brian.
I mean, Congress was calling for some hearings today.
Oh, were they? Okay, I didn't know that.
There was somebody I just saw that in passing. I didn't pay much attention to it, but I did see that in passing. That there was they sent a request for information to the NFL, which is usually what they do before they have a hearing.
So I mean, like, they deserve this. They fucking deserve it. And I don't know that I necessarily care who brought it up, because like most suits, well, I guess you'd know this better than I, but from what I can see, most things that, well, okay, we're gonna do a lawsuit. Most don't go to trial, right?
No, most don't. But yeah,
Like,
most don't go to trial. I don't know what they would do with this one, because what Brian Flores' real goal here is not for him to make money. He wants the discovery. He wants the rocks overturned more than anything. And I think that
people who don't know what that means, explain what discovery is, because I just learned what that is. Because again, in Canada, we don't sue people that much.
So discovery is where you basically go through all records to see if you could find anything that proves the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was an attorney, one of the things I worked on was Foreign Corrupt Practices Act cases. So that law, just is saying that you can't bribe foreign officials overseas. It's one of the two long arm statutes the U.S. has. Long arm statutes means the U.S. can punish American citizens for what they do in other countries. Mm-hmm. There are only two of them. There's that one. There's a sexual trafficking law, which was written for one dude for Washington State.
Who's that?
I don't remember his name, but they knew he'd gone to Thailand to have intercourse with kids under the age of 6. And they passed the law while he was.
Here's how you're guilty. Did you book a flight to Bangkok? That's enough.
They knew what he had done for years, and they waited till he left, passed it, and then when he returned, he was the first person arrested under the law. But anyway, so in our cases, our clients, I represented the companies who are being sued by the U.S. government. Our clients are always guilty, like all of them were guilty, and what we would do would be a forensic review as the defense side. And as the defense side, we basically said we surrender. We'll tell you as much as we possibly can if you keep the fine below $1 billion. Essentially, was the whole idea. So because the one company that did not do that was Siemens, and Siemens still has the biggest fine of $1.6 billion because they had everybody from Borat on down on Kazakhstan on their payroll. So what we would do is do a forensic analysis of everyone's computer, email, like internal memos, everything like that, looking for keywords or evidence that they were doing bribery. And so we'd compile binders. There's millions and millions of documents going through, determining like for example, a word that you wouldn't necessarily think, but a lot of places in Africa, they use the word sunshine as a euphemism for paying a bribe.
Oh, Okay.
So like you want either a little sunshine will help clear up this situation. It would be a sentence we'd see a lot. But the word sunshine, a computer can catch the word sunshine, right? But you need a human to figure out what that officially actually means. So they just talk about the weather, or are they actually talking about a bribe, right? So that's what we do. So in this situation, they would be doing analysis and have a computer program would probably look for African American, black, coach, like words like that, that would show bias, and they'd have people do a forensic analysis, which is what they call discovery,
So
along those lines.
in this case, the NFL, what do you think will happen? You think they're just going to, obviously they want this to go away.
And the NFL wants no part of it. I mean, they already had a discovery, and they've been hiding whatever happened with Washington. They've been hiding it like anything. So, they don't want, the last thing they want is a forensic analysis of why everybody's doing what they're doing. Like, it's a mess. Last time we knew anything about that, John Gruden got fired, right? The last one they did before that, we found out that Tom Brady thought he would last longer than Peyton Manning, and that he had a big thing for had a hard on for white winter pool covers.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but okay.
Well, when with Deflategate, they went through all of his emails and everything. And the worst thing they could come up with, this is how squeaky clean he was. The worst thing they come up with was him saying he thought he'd outlast Manning, and that he was really mad they couldn't find a white winter pool cover for his pool.
Okay.
Like that was as scandalous as it got when they went through everything. Okay. Right. So, I mean, they don't want that. They do not want anything from Jeff Pash anywhere, because that man is crooked as a $3 bill. Like it would be disastrous, but that's exactly what Flores wants. He doesn't want recompense. He wants a reckoning.
Does he want that, or his lawyers? Like, I don't know the man.
Well, to be fair, his law firm are the people who represent a lot of high profile cases.
Okay. And, and it's one of those things, like Flores never should have got fired. I think we all sort of agree on that in this case. It's just really going to be interesting to see what I'm fascinated. I'm completely fascinated to see what's going to happen, and good on him, because he sacrificed way more than, I'm trying to think of anyone who's even in that league of what he might have sacrificed, because he's 40. So it's not like he's 70. Like the Neil Young Spotify, right? Brian Flores should have had, and still could, I hope he does, have another shot at being an NFL head coach. Doing this makes him a lot unhireable. Right or wrong, but that's where he is. We'll be reviewing this again. All right, we should move on. What's your ugly? This is a lot of bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad. The ugly, hold on. I want to make sure I'm sharing my sound for this one.
Oh, I have that prepped.
Oh, you have it prepped? Can you share the sound?
Prepped. Yeah, because I know exactly what it is on this one, and fuck this guy too. I've got it good here.
So every time, So I'll set it up. So every time I feel bad that Jeremy Jacobs is the owner of my hockey team, I remember at least it's not the Wirtzes.
Okay.
So as a reminder, I can't think of his first name. Last name was Beach. What was his first name? The player.
Adam
no. Beach. No, not Adam Beach.
Adam Beach was an actor. God damn it, on Law and Order, a Canadian actor. God damn, Kyle Beach.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Kyle Beach was a first-round draft pick of the Blackhawks and was on their taxi squad for the 2012, I believe, Stanley Cup, who was sexually assaulted by a strength and conditioning coach who's had his name since stricken from the cup. They X'd it out on the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that makes everything better.
Yes, the Blackhawks knew about it. Stan Bowman got fired. A couple other people got fired. And it was a black eye for the organization, and they needed to do something about it. So there's a press conference where Rocky Wirtz, who's the owner, and one person I don't want to throw under the bus for this, who seems to be doing the right thing, is his son, Brian. Brian Wirtz, I'm sorry, not Brian, Danny Wirtz, seems to be doing the right thing and tried to actually do something about what you're about to hear.
Yep.
But he was asked not talking about 2010, what happened in 2010.
Mhm.
Or sorry, it's a 2012 team. It was 2010 team. What happened in 2010? Doesn't care about that. He wants to know what they're doing now and what they're doing going into the future, so that people in Kyle Beach's situation have a resource within the organization. So I'll let you play it now. The actual thing.
Yeah,
It's about a minute and a half long, guys.
Well, shit, maybe I don't have the right one here. So
If you don't, I have it.
you know, play yours.
All right. So let me
Because
let
the
me
one
just
I thought I had was
share.
like a minute 12, and it was from CBS Chicago. Yours is better because it's the clean.
I'm trying to share audio. Why can't
just play it? I mean, you'll hear it. No.
I don't doesn't always work that way.
Okay,
Can
well,
you can you have me host here for a second?
Yeah, of course. That I learned how to do.
There we go.
Or didn't really. Shit. Dun, dun, dun. Participants. Evan Moore. Make host.
All right.
Change host.
There we go. All right. What I'm looking to is share audio, share sound. There we go. All right, ready? So let me know if you can hear this. I'm not going to share the screen. I'm just going to share the sound.
Okay.
So let me know if you can hear this. I'm playing it now.
Yep.
Do you hear it?
Yeah.
I think much of what happened to Kyle Beach stemmed from a power imbalance between a coach and a player and the powerlessness of a player in that situation. So what are the Blackhawks doing? What have the Blackhawks done? What will the Blackhawks do to empower a player in a similar situation to make sure that doesn't happen again?
All right. So just so to set it up, that is Mark Lazarus, who's a hockey reporter asking. And the person who's going to be answering is Rocky Wirtz. The person you hear interrupting is his son, who tries to change this or tries to do something about this. Just so set up for those of you who can't see.
Mm-hmm. I think the report speaks for itself. The people that were involved are no longer here. We're now looking back at 2010. We're looking forward. We're not going to talk about 2010. I know, and I'm not either. And we're not going to talk about what happened. We're moving forward. That is my answer. But what's your next question?
I can pick up too what we are doing today. I think
No, I don't know. That's none of your business. That's none of your business. What we're going to do today is our business. I don't think it's any of your business. Because I don't think it's any of your business. You don't work for the company. If someone in the company asks that question, we'll answer. And I think you should get on to the next subject. We're not going to talk about Kyle Beach. We're not going to talk about anything that happened. Now we're moving on. What more do I have to say? You want to keep asking the same question? You hear the same answer? Okay, ask the next question. Okay.
back also.
Yeah.
I don't mean to have a visceral chuckle, but I don't know what else to do. How does anyone at this stage, like, I know sometimes people will say, well, people are older, they don't understand media. Bull fucking shit. Anyone who's 70 has been in the internet age for 25 years.
Yep.
You know, like my dad shits on me sometimes, like, you're not using Skype enough. I can't reach you. He's 78. You know, so like, I get you're tired of this. I totally understand that. But you hid something. You were part of a cover-up, a disgusting cover-up for a long time. And sometimes you just gotta fucking take the L. Take the L. Yeah, fucked up. I don't know how hard that is for some people to say, like, we got this wrong and we're going to try and do better. There you go.
And that's what the question was. The question was not saying you screwed up in 2010. That's a given. Everyone knows that. The question is, what are you doing going forward?
Yeah.
He was giving him a softball. Like, hey, what have you guys done to make things better?
Mm-hmm.
It was legitimately the question for Mark Lazarus. And Rocky Wirtz decided to be like, yeah, we're not talking about this anymore. He's like, I'm not, and the reporter said, I'm not talking about 2010. It's like, I know you're not. We're not talking about this again. Like, what's wrong with you? And and to be fair, Danny came up afterwards too. And another reporter picked up afterwards, asked the same question. And Danny Wirtz came out and afterwards, like, hey, I'm more than happy to go through this with you on the record. Like, he did do that. I'm not crapping on him at all. He's did the best he could, seeing his dad was being an idiot. But Rocky Wirtz, I can't think of a possible worse way to handle anything.
No, it's awful in every way. I think someone who just completely doesn't get the situation at hand, probably someone who just says, like, well, it's really not that big a deal. I'm sure that's what he thinks.
It's 100% it's what he thinks.
Yeah. And he's lucky. And I say he's lucky because he doesn't understand why that is a big deal. Like,
Yeah, I have to say, moving here to Chicago,
Mhm.
and as much as I dislike Jeremy Jacobs, he's kind of stepped back and his son has taken over. We are so lucky in Boston as to who our owners are, as much as I shit on John Henry too, because I don't like that man.
right.
But he at least has some idea as to what he's doing. Wick Rousbeck and the Crafts, and even Jeremy Jacobs, and they're either average to above average owners, right?
Mhm.
The Ricketts family with the Cubs, the McCaskies with the Bears, and the Wirtzes with the Blackhawks are embarrassments for various reasons.
Right.
But they are embarrassments and indictments of the rich class, the money class in this country.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so out of touch with how everything in the world works. They're literally Lucille Bluth. How much is a banana? $7? Like that, like she would be a better owner than any of these folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping like the next generation when they come through can start doing something, although the McCaskies are going to own the Bears forever. But I don't know. Danny Wirtz gives me hope. Rocky Wirtz is awful.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when his reaction is appropriate. Like if you're a player, it's like, okay, yeah, I dropped the ball, or for whatever reason, like, and you've asked
the guy from the 49ers this last week who could have had the interception that was right in his hands.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
And dropped it. It came out afterwards. Like, there's no excuses.
Yeah.
I need to make that. This loss is on me.
Yeah. And then, like, there's only so many more answers you can sort of give that sort of situation. This one is the destruction of a man's soul.
100%. And again, and this doesn't make it that much of a difference, but not only a man's soul, but one of the people you were expecting to build your franchise on when he was drafted.
Yeah.
Again, not that it matters as to how important he should have been to the team, except for the fact that he was supposed to be that important to the team and they still don't care. They'd rather go with an assistant video editor over their first round draft pick and believe who they believe. Shows a level of rot within that organization.
It is. It's one of those things too. Like I saw they lost 5-0 the other night. Usually I don't really care about a Chicago, whatever game they're playing. Kind of wanted them to lose, if that makes any sense.
Well, they're very good at that this season. I wonder if their coach is being paid $5,000. Oh no, there's no way the Wirtzes would pay for any of that.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, so I don't know. As much as we try to go forward, sometimes we're not. Anyway, I think that's sort of we had a deep show, man.
That was a lot today.
We had comedy, we had drama, we had everything.
We had Dr. Johnny Fever.
That's right. Well, fellow babies, tune in next week. I've already promoted a bunch of shit, so I'm not going to do my usual shtick when it comes to that.
Let's promote this. Vote for the USA Hall of Fame.
Yes. Okay. Not in Hall of Fame forward. Okay. www.notinhallofame.com/USA. Evan and I have put together something super duper special where you can vote on who you think should be the greatest athletes ever in the United States. Amazingly, no one's done this. And we put this together. Please vote because your vote matters. It doesn't matter more than Evan's, doesn't matter more than mine. But you can vote every day. It's a 24-hour cycle. So it's something that we're really proud of. We put together a group of former Olympians. We got some coaches, hyper fans like us, I'm really proud of the committee we put together to put forth the nominees.
100%.
And it's going to get even better as we move forward. So check that out. Vote often, because this does matter. It will matter.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
First class is coming out in June.
Yes. And with that, everyone, the show is closed. Stay safe wherever you may be, however you may do that. We're your friends. We love you. Take care.
Take care, everybody.